Good evening, friends. Suppose it's time for a state of the Pavleck address, huh? Today is September 27th. It's about 20 after 7 p.m. And I'm trying yet again another revision of the friggin' camera mount. I swear to God, it's impossible to find a good way of mounting a camera to a vehicle without hard coding parts to it. So, if you get ill, don't blame me. I tried. Like I said, this is like the fourth one I've tried just today. Anyway, it's the 27th. Turned 42 yesterday. At one point in my life, that age was impossible to fathom. And now here I am. There. Whether it be blessed with good genes or whether God forgot about me, I seem to be doing okay. With every approaching year, IT gets worse and I hate it more. So I started carving out my own thing, which is actually pretty profitable, weirdly enough. I mean, the stuff I do, a lot of times, organizations don't give a flying fuck about it. So, if it's there, good. If it's not, fine. If it's working, awesome. If it's not working, oh well. And kind of beats at you when you've been basically devoting your life to the thing for 2 decades now. That's just a small minority that people care about. And I've been trying to shift away from it. And it's something else. I never knew what. Until fairly recently. Oh, by the way, yeah. It is, the Cadillac is slumbering at a shop right now. And not a dealership. She's having a lot of work done to her. She's going to come out high of almost 700 horsepower, hopefully. Anyway. So, yeah. I was on a forum months ago, and it was for smart homes. And this company, they were a new company, and I don't remember exactly what it was. That's not true. I know exactly what they were selling, but I don't want to I guess talk about it. I don't want to talk shit about another company that's trying to come out or anything. Anyway, yeah. So they're like, hey. We're so-and-so, and we just released, or we're releasing this. I can't remember if it was released or if they're working on it. And they basically were like, hey, we'd love to have any feedback that you guys have about, this. What would you like to see? And, man, I've been keeping notebooks full of automation stuff. Like, it's kind of an obsession. It's just document after document after document. And funny enough, it's usually how my thought process works. I just collect massive amounts of thoughts on the paper or computer, and at some point in time, it's like magic. It just all lines up and you can see right through it. Exactly what the goal was. Anyway, so I posted, I think I had to reply 3 times to get my entire statement across. And I went really into detail because I've got a lot of issues with smart homes and the Internet of Things and how things are done in this day and age. So after a little bit, a few people had replied that knew me. They were like, hey man, why don't you go and make a company and make those things? And I was like, oh, well shit, I never really thought about that. I could have a company and make those things. And so it's been festering and kind of in the back of my mind constantly. I've had a lot of false starts and a lot of things I've been planning to do and I've wanted to do. Thoughts on how I want to roll it. And I think for my 42nd birthday, I'm actually going to enact it. So the core of it is Bill Gates, I think it was in 85 or 84, he had a smart home built. It was top of the line. You know, huge bucks back then. You know, did all the regular stuff, music and different rooms that followed you and automatic blinds and stuff like that. And, you know, that system, if the components if any components that broke were replaced, and if, you know, it was maintained and they didn't let it go to shit, right now, 35 years later, it'll work just as well as the day he walked in the door. And it leads me to wonder, will we be able to say the same thing about Nest, or Ring, or the Amazon Echo, or the Google Home? I mean, that's kind of a tall order. Especially for somebody like Google, who pretty much will act something if it's not at all making them any money. Like, there's plenty of stuff that was crap that they got rid of, but then they also got rid of some amazing stuff that a lot of people devoted to, including me, like Google Reader. The minute Google Reader went away, I no longer really had news feeds anymore. Luckily, Quora came along and fixed that for me. But yeah, so how can you devote full time, like how can you work and devote energy into building a system in your home only to know that eventually you'll have to tear it all down and start all over again with something completely different? And I'm thinking I can change that. So I've registered a domain and I've started putting together a plan. Initially, I was working on smart vents for the house. All the smart vents that are out there now, really, they're at least $100, and some of them need another $150 to $200 hub. And I am strongly against hubs for every fucking thing, especially with how devices work these day and age. You take an ESP8266, it's got Wi-Fi, you can Bluetooth on it. It's perfect, right? There's no reason to monkey with it. You could just, I mean, come on. That device is perfect for this stuff. It's got a way that, you know, it can boot up unconfigured and then just broadcast itself. You download an app maybe and configure it. There you go. Bob's your uncle. No hub needed. So that's the beginning goal, right? So I pulled the parts off the shelf, kind of banged one together. I'm not a really good coder, so, you know, it's a little iffy for me. But I threw something together. The vents open and close. I gave it set different percentages and what have you. And, you know, I wanted to be able to measure the airflow going through the vents too. But it turns out that mass airflow measurement is really a very fancy science. The way the cars do it, and the most accurate way of doing it is they call it the hot wire method. You send current through a piece of like nichrome wire or whatever, and it heats up to a known temperature, and then as air rushes past it, it removes that heat energy, which requires more voltage and current to maintain its state. And by the variation of current, by the more current that the thing needs to stay at that temperature, the more air that's flowing. It's got a it's a really spot-on accurate way of measuring air. There's a couple of other ways that are really cheap to do. It's like differential pressure. You take it on one side, you take it on the other side. that's not really accurate. There was somebody that was doing something with infrared, but it was basically, hey, look at this idea, and then it didn't go, like, I didn't find anything else about it. And I was thinking mass airflow sensors would be really cheap because, I mean, they're in every friggin' car, but no, they're expensive. And I was like, that sucks. I wanted to have that in my system. And normally what I would have done, like, when I was a young man of 41, is basically that would have been the thing that just made me decide that, well, I can't make this, so I might as well just give up. But no, this time I'm like, I need to make a workaround. Not even a workaround. I want to have something in place. So let's say I make something later. Or even more importantly, and this is for everybody, you guys make something later that can measure airflow. I have an interface on the vent that you can interface with, right? Just a simple, I don't even know what I'm going to use, I2C or SPI. I mean, something simple. And that leads me to my, like, oh, before I go there, I bought all these parts at retail, you know, one at a time, some at Home Depot, some at Fry's, some at Micro Center, some on Amazon. I got extras and stuff I didn't need, and I think I spent a little bit over $50 altogether, right? And that's really cheap. I'm curious if all the IoT things have such a fat ass margin of like 50%, because that's just insane. Because I know I can actually get it down less than half that without trying. And I've been talking with a friend who helps start, well, I guess not, it's not like a job. He's started and been a founder and a CEO of a few semiconductor places, and I had no idea exactly how you take a thing that you want to make and then figure out where to go with it. And people will go, okay, well, here's how you build it, and we'll build it, and this is how much it'll cost us for how many pieces. So he got me in touch with that stuff. So it's very likely that $50 thing that it cost me retail, I could get down to $10. Probably closer to 20. Anyway, what this thing's going to do is we're going to have two separate versions, essentially, of everything we have. There's going to be the DIY kind of stuff, where you have really raw access to everything, and you got to do it all. Well, not you, but I mean, somebody's got to do it, right? Somebody will write something for Home Assistant or Smart Things. You know, somebody will eventually come along and do it. And then we'll also have like a more posh version, I guess you could say, that, yeah, it would be more of a self-service kind of a walking you slowly through setting things up. And if you don't want to give a damn about how it works or fiddle with it, that's the one you want. Everything will have at least one, I'm hoping for at least one expansion. And it's just a simple, probably a serial bus expansion. And you can plug things into it for whatever you want. I mean, it's kind of up to you guys. Like, I don't want to say this is what a smart vent should be, because that might not be your idea of exactly what you need. Yeah, it'll have temperature and open and close, but, you know, maybe you guys want humidity, right? Or maybe you want to know the amount of light that's emitting in the room. It's way better to just offer a standard smart vent with an expansion port or 2 or 3 or 5, and then you can make or buy these modules to plug in. That way I'm not selling you an expensive vent, like a $100 vent that you're going to use only $3. The other part is, we're not going to run with a hub as much as possible. They will either talk device machine to machine, will be brokers and what have you. There'll be ways of controlling the information within, or you can create a software service if you want on your house, on some server. That's another thing. It's going to be open source. It's going to be an open design. There's going to be a patent if I can, and then I'm giving it away for free. Or I might not even give it away. I'm not sure how that works. Some people I've been talking to say you should patent it and then state it's free to use. Because if you don't, there's always the possibility that somebody will come along and basically patent what you made and then start charging. And even though, they're not going to win that it can be a really expensive way to do business. So, that I'm not sure about. I will have a cloud component, of course, if you want to pay me money to do certain things, but nothing I have in a cloud-enabled version or app will be anything extra that you can't do on your own. And even further, adding to that, we're going to build an OS and we're actually going to release it as our cloud OS. And so if you like the cloud stuff that we create, you can actually just download it and make it yourself. Do it from your own house if you want to. Or I want to set it up so I can have people that want to actually host instances for other people. They can just do it, They can start up a cloud company. And it's funny is a lot of people are like, well, how are you going to make any money off of this? I mean, blah, 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 blah. Like, you need that recurring revenue. I think about that and I'm like, Jesus Christ. How have we survived for thousands of years without recurring revenue, right? How did Honeywell, a thermostat maker for like 80 years, how did they survive before the internet, right? They just made a better product and sold it at a good price and it became the de facto standard. I don't see why I can't do that with a smart home thing. I want to make a timeless smart home ecosystem. I want it to be, if I decide to say, fuck off and go to Tahiti with all your money, that at least you guys can download what is there and then just do it on your own. Because I have spent thousands of dollars on smart home devices. I mean, think about it. Those friggin' Ring flood lamps are $250 a pop, right? You get 4 of those is pretty easy. You get that's $1,000 right there, and you're just lighting up areas of your yard. I know 100% that those things are just gonna get in the landfill at some point in time. I can't fathom anybody actually maintaining these things for any length of time. I mean, look at it this way. Blizzard's just about done milked World of Warcraft for all she suffers. And, it's going to be closing up shop pretty soon. And it's the biggest one, right? Because as it stands, and, I'll admit that's exactly how I'd be too. The business can't continue if it's not making money anymore, right? So how are you going to make money? Well, you make a good product. You make multiple different products, so you have a richer selection for people to pick, and then you actually, care. That's what I'm going to try for. So you guys, it'll be an open, and the other thing is an API. It's going to be a completely open API, and you guys will know everything will be out there. I want to do a common model. It'll be the hard set model. That way, I can always add to that model, but you know that anything that goes on that model is sacrosanct. You can count on it. I want it to be as easy as possible for people to implement this stuff in any way they choose. I want it to be so it doesn't have to be my devices, right? That could be Jeremy's smart home devices. It could be Jeremy's and then Bob has some stuff in there. There's a little bit, I'm thinking, so far with all my testing, message queue works really good. And I mean, why wouldn't it? It's been around since the late 70s, and it's ATMs and shit talk. So unless I can come up with something better than that, or somebody can suggest something, I think that's probably going to be the way we're going to do it. I want all the data endpoints to be pretty flexible. Being a monitoring guy for so long, especially when you deal with just Microsoft products and such, sometimes you're just locked in, right? If I'm not a SQL reporting services, BI designer guy, I'm not really going to be making any reports, and any reports I do make are just going to look like shit. And so you go, hey, why don't you get a BI guy? No company's going to be like, hey, can we hire $150,000 a year, like, strong BI guy, so we can make some of these graphs for this system that you guys don't care about? No, nobody wants to do that. But there's lots of people out there that like to play with this stuff. I'm one of them. And so I want to just put it out there. I don't know. I'm going to try it. I'm going to actually be throwing something up on Kickstarter. I've been trying to work out the dollar amount, and I'm not really sure. I've got, basic framework and things like that, and I've got a couple of prototype units, but I'm not exactly sure if API guys are going to want to do this for like 50 grand in the first year or something like that. This is all new to me. Like, I've never messed with this kind of stuff, but I want to do it, and I want to aim for $250,000 from Kickstarter. And I follow all of those Kickstarter scam stories, and I want to be so transparent that you guys know exactly what's going on, which will still backfire, don't get me wrong. For example, when I was on the Reddit, I used to run a Team Fortress 2 server for the Reddit unofficial gaming community, right? I ran the Great Lakes one, and it was big. I was amazed at how well we did, because we basically opened up on a Monday, and within 2 weeks it started to hit 32 people, and it stayed that way for a long time. People were demanding. They required and demanded certain settings, and they needed servers with certain latency, and it was expensive. And on top of that, I tried to brand it. I love doing that stuff, so I try to include Reddit-ish things all over the place. And I'd get a tiny amount of donations. I think it was costing me $150 a month. So I was also hiring like coders and stuff that would bang together source mod stuff for things I wasn't sure about, and this is like a decade ago. And people were just trying to rake me over the coals, like, what are you doing with all my money? Like, look, like, it's not going anywhere. Like, it's making a dent. I appreciate every dollar. And I didn't do any of that BS crap that you can see in this day and age, where the message of the day is an HTML-based one, and it pops up ads, and it plays. Somebody's got a plugin that manages to loop ads in the background, and I think that tries to mute them, but every now and then an ad will, you'll just start hearing talking. It's so annoying. And I happen to like HTML message of the day. It's like, I love to do neat little things, characters, graphics for birthdays and stuff, but you run into these things all the time, and I can't blame them. But at the same time, especially now, like I've had a TF2 server running Jesus, I don't even know what server it is. I don't even know when I started it. I don't even know what's on it. But it's like $30 a month. So it can be pretty cheap. I mean, $30 is $30. It's when you start dealing with try-hard assholes that demand certain things that are really expensive computational-wise, and you have to spend all this money that it gets nutty. But yeah, it's I'm gonna do it. In fact, I was even looking at office spaces this week. I don't think I'm gonna do that. So I thought about it because it's pretty cheap, all things considered. I can actually get an actual office in a building for less than $500 a month. But you know, I happen to have a great room and 3 bedrooms that are completely empty. So I'm thinking I might actually renovate one of those rooms into my like a corporate office, right? And I'm gonna have to do a few things like growing up, right? So the company's Pavleck LLC. Like, my slogan is oppression through science since 1976, which I just think is hilarious, but might not be very good when you're trying to twist over to a Internet of Things kind of setup. But I don't know. This is who I am. I stopped trying to adhere to social norms a long time ago. My customers either love me or they hate me. They want me to stick around forever, or they want me to leave after the first day. And hey, that's the way life works. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing my damnedest. So I got 1 customer engagement right now, and it's 13 to 18 weeks. Maybe it'll get extended to 21. Hopefully not any more than 24 weeks, right? Almost towards the end of that, I want to have my prototypes all looking really good and shiny. I want to have more of the stuff fleshed out. Like, I want to come to Kickstarter with a really, like, hey, you're really just ordering this, like, smart vent, but honestly, here's what your money's going to be going